Thanks for tuning in to Becoming Something, where we promise to keep the conversation honest and real for young adults in their 20s and 30s. Every moment we live is training for a future moment, and that's why we do this podcast, because we want you to be prepared for everything that life is going to throw at you. Our hope with this podcast is that it would help you become all that God desires you to be. So with that in mind, let's jump right in to this week's episode of Becoming Something.
What's up, podcast world? It's your boy JP in the podcast studio. And I mean, Nate's here, but like Kathy's just kind of here.
What do you mean by
This is
that?
one of the top podcasts in the world, and
What
you're
do
just
you
like
mean?
texting.
We've been staring at you for 5 minutes.
That is-
True. I
yes,
was
it is.
doing something for work.
he
it
was-
was not 5
He
minutes.
was
It
looking
was
at you,
5
then he
minutes.
looked at me, and we're
I
like,
It was
literally, I
literally
felt like the
5
teacher,
seconds.
that the
No,
whole classroom got
no,
quiet.
no.
The whole
Let's-
classroom's looking at you.
And I knew y'all were, and I said, "This is my work. I'm going to keep doing it." And I finished in
this
time.
is your work.
Well, yes. I
Wow.
have
This is
two-
the
I
most
have-
impactful
This
thing
is my
that
work.
us three
No,
will
no,
ever do in our
I
life.
need to, you guys.
And you
every
were
time-
like,
no.
what snacks should we get for our girls' night?
Oh, goodness.
You think that is
Oh,
women's
goodness.
ministry?
Oh,
No.
goodness.
Every time I walk in here, you two are just on your phones.
What Hallmark rom-com should we
Wow.
dissect
my
I am
goodness.
at girls'
offended
ministry?
That
How
that's what
are
you think
you
we do.
Not
Is that what you think
canceled.
Adelaide and I were doing last night?
I don't know what
How are
y'all
you
do.
not canceled?
And I don't
One,
really care because
two,
it lets me watch Monday Night
four.
Football.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, go to prayer night.
Yeah.
I don't care what
Prayer
you do.
night.
It was prayer
Exactly.
night, whatever.
What do y'all
why
do
I
at prayer
defend
night?
myself? We literally pray.
Yo, sure.
We just go to war. We do honestly similar format. We like praise God, spend time confessing, and then just as the Spirit
What'd you
leads.
confess?
I know, but
Oh. My
Adelaide
son
comes home
was
and tells you.
whining so
Okay,
much.
so Kathy said this.
Adley comes home and y'all are
Does
like,
she
hey,
do
let's
that?
just spend some extra time praying for Kathy.
Yes. Yeah.
I spanked my
She was-
son in anger yesterday.
Wait, what do you?
You what?
I did. That was
Oh
like
my gosh,
You
we can't. Listen, that is an area we cannot talk about on
What
this
did you say?
podcast.
You asked what I confessed. and
Wait,
I said
what did you-
Wow.
I swatted my son on the bottom because he was whining.
Oh, I
and
heard
was so
I spanked
frustrated.
my sin.
No,
And I was
wish.
like, wait, what?
My sin spanked me, to be honest. But
Was
I
it in your
just- I
second living room
confess
or
a
third
lot of
living
things.
room?
What?
Was it in your second living room or third living room? Wow, she just said shut up. Listen, for all
Why are y'all
my-
For all
after me
the women-
today?
Do not let anyone look down on you because you're young, but set an example for believers in speech.
I have something to say.
In speech. Do not let
About
any
that.
unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what
Yes.
is helpful
Yes,
for
I'm
building
working
others
on
up
it.
so that it may
Thank
benefit
you.
those who
Thank
listen.
you.
It
I-
doesn't feel like you're working on it.
Okay, but the whole like setting an example in your conduct, you never know who's watching you. And I'm like probably G level famous. You're probably B level famous. You're probably G level. What I mean is, I was in Rockwall.
G-level
your favorite
famous.
city.
Gosh.
Nate.
I'm probably G-level
Yeah.
famous.
Maybe X
Wow.
Let's
level.
be sure and clip that.
M level. And I was at
Wait,
Jason's
what level?
Deli.
Wait. What level was I?
You were a D. You got more
What
followers.
is that? What's that? Is that before?
Do you know
A,
the
B, C,
alphabet?
Oh my
D,
gosh.
E, F, G. Okay, yeah.
Oh my
But
goodness.
I'm in Rockwall, and this guy comes up to
Is
me.
he-
He goes
he's not
at
A.
Jason's Deli, and he goes, I said B,
Oh, okay.
Okay, wait, okay, go ahead.
and he goes, "You're cooler than Nate." And that's all he says to me. And I'm like, I'm at Jason's Deli. My kids aren't eating their food.
Was it
I'm
Josh
like,
Howerton?
No, it was just a listener. Shout out.
Is this a curling iron burn?
Oh, it was a cooking burn.
Oh man.
What? You were trying to take it out with your elbow? Here,
All
the
that to say,
cookies
do
are
you
in the
hear the
oven.
part where
Here-
someone said I was cooler than you on the podcast? What?
All right, you listen. I'm going to tell you
The
who's
baking
cooler
sheet hit it.
than
Yeah,
all
I know,
of us.
but you're trying to.
Hey,
pull it
hey,
out. Okay.
hey! I'm trying to get this back on the rails.
Have you ever
okay?
cooked anything in the
Nate
oven?
doesn't know his alphabet. Kathy's G-level celebrity. I'll tell you who's cooler than all of us.
100%.
I am
Jesus,
so pumped.
Jesus.
Jesus for sure. I'm so pumped for who's coming on the
Me too.
podcast
I'm
today.
giddy.
Because honestly, the best podcast I've ever heard
Yes.
was this person.
Joe Rogan is on.
Yeah, nope. It's Jamie Winship. If you don't know who that is, you for sure will before the end of today. I'm so pumped. Let's go.
Yay.
Okay, guys, you welcome to the podcast, Mr. Jamie Winship. Jamie, thank you so much for coming on with us today. I got to meet you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I got to meet you in Norman, Oklahoma the other day, and someone introduced us, and I just walked away because I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe, because I just heard you on another podcast, and I've sent that podcast to more people than any podcast I've ever forwarded, because I was just so stirred by your story and faith in God and all the things. So thank you for jumping on with us.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
How did this all come to be? Like, how did you, I'm going to say this up front because I'm going to say it multiple times throughout the podcast. You're going to want to know, you're like, in a moment, you're going to be like, I want to hear more about this guy. Where are resources? And so Living Fearless is the book. Get the book. I've got it on Audible. I've listened to it multiple times. IdentityExchange.com. That's where you can go and get the courses that Jamie and his wife teach and their team. And then there's a lot of free videos on YouTube that you can go and just consume. Search Identity Exchange, and you'll see them there on YouTube. But how did you get into this? Like, I mean, how you have a ministry around your life? Not a lot of people do that. How did this come to be?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I can start in the middle and go backwards. Actually, for me, everything, and I say this to people all the time, you have to have a model that you see. Humans can't do what they've never seen. Mm-hmm. And so in your life, you have to have a person that reflects something that you want to become. Not what you want to do necessarily, but a person who you want to become like. And in my life, I think I've had 6 people like that. I'm 65. I think I've met 6 people who, when I watched, even if I couldn't articulate it, I would think to myself, I want to be like that person. I want to be is the key word, like that person. I don't necessarily want to do what they do, but I want to be like that person. And one of those people, like when I was 40 years old, I had been through the police department, recruited by the State Department, through graduate school, through seminary, ordained, and I'd been 6 years working inside the Muslim world. After all of that, I'm working with maybe the best field guy I've ever seen ever in my life. And it was a guy who, when I was working in a Muslim population, the Muslims were talking about this guy. That's what was so unusual about him. And he was a foreigner to them. And they used a term for him they called him Nasrani, which is a term that a Muslim uses for someone that they respect their faith in God who's not a Muslim. Very unusual for a Muslim to use that word about anybody, let alone an American Christian. And when they used that term, I was like, who are you talking about? And then they said there's a boule, which is a less nice word meaning white person or foreigner. And I said, you're calling a foreign person Nasrani? And they said, yeah, I got to meet this person. It took me a long time to find him. It's kind of like Apocalypse Now or Heart of Darkness. There's some guy living way up among the people that they revere, and you got to go find him because nobody knows who he is, which is another quality about him I loved. And so when I finally find this guy and I meet him and I watch him work, it's incredible. And I asked him if he would, mentor me and coach me or something. And he said, no, immediately, no way.
Wow.
And I said, why not? And he said, because you don't want to be transformed. You want to debate. You just want to argue and intellectualize things. He said, I'm not here to mentor you. I'm here for these people to be transformed. That's all I care about. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. And then I really wanted to be mentored by him. Yeah. I mean, I really wanted, because he was not known. And it's just like, if you're in the State Department or something like that, and you ask them, do you know who the best operative in the world is? They'll say no. That's why they're the best in the world, because nobody knows who they are. That's how good they are. The only people that know him are the ones that they're trying to influence. So anyway, he finally agreed to work with me, and I spent 4 years with him. overseas 4 years, and I don't know, 1 month in, he's watching me, and I mean, I was skilled and I have great training. I've been successful in what I do professionally and all and spiritually. And he's watching me, and one day and he pulls me out and he goes, you don't even know who you are.
Wow.
And I mean, that after all those years and all that training and all that, the awards and all this stuff. I mean, I won Officer of the Year when I was 24.
Wow.
Now I'm 41. I've been through the whole everything. And he said, you don't know who you are. And I got mad at him. And I said, yes, I do. Which is, what else am I going to say? Of course I know who I am. And he said, no, you don't. You don't. And I said, how do you know I don't? And he said, because you imitate other people. That's all you're doing, is imitating other people. And he said, we don't need other people. We think we need you, but we don't know who you are, and we can't tell you who you are. You have to tell us who you are, but you don't know. So we don't know what to do with you, actually. We don't care what your resume is. We don't care about any of that stuff. We care about, are you able to give the gift of your identity to these people? But you don't know what it is. And so they sent me to a remedial identity field training course, like right on the field with another guy. And that was the first time. I mean, I knew I was a believer. I knew I was a child of God and all of those things. But I don't know, when they asked me, like, yeah, but you're unique to everyone else on the planet. Who are you?
And this was the
Unless you
Nasrani.
know that.
The Nasrani
Yeah,
guy. So he's not an authority figure. Like he's not someone that you're working with. He's someone that you pursued for mentorship, and he's just like, hey, you don't know who you are, and so he sends you to a course or something like that. That was
to another guy on his team.
I gotcha.
That had been another American guy that had been born out in the Muslim world, and that guy was more of a contemplative. So they so knew their identities that they only functioned exactly in that identity. And they knew, I'm a hand, I'm a foot, I'm an eye, and they never ventured outside of that identity. And they so complemented each other. There was no competition among them, because they're like, how can a hand compete with an eye? That's how I've never seen a team that good work together. And so he said, I can tell from his identity that I didn't know who I was. But he didn't try and do it with me. He sent me to the guy on the team that was his identity, to help people understand who they were. And so I go to that guy and I'm like, okay, I'm ordained. I mean, I'm everything you can get. And this guy spent, I don't know, because you're on the field and you don't have a lot of time, because it's very high tension, and they're like, this course is going to take 45 minutes. That's how long this is going to take for you to figure out. What? Because God's always been telling you who you are your whole life, and you just never asked him and never listened. You just let other people tell you. So you don't know. So we're gonna lay all that aside, and we're gonna get right to it and just ask the Lord, who does he say that you are? Who does he say that you are? And it was so beautiful and powerful, and I just cried. I mean, I didn't know why. I just started weeping, and very, very distinctly, like we use the word heard, but it's not the right word exactly. I knew, I sensed, I understood what he said, what God believed about me. And I ask people all the time, what do you think God believes about you in particular? What do you think he believes about you? Because you need to believe about yourself what he believes about you, not what other people believe about you, not what you believe about yourself. What does he believe about you? What does God, in a sense, have faith in you about? Like if he was next to you going, I have faith that you can do this. I believe in you. Like Jesus did to the disciples all the time. And he would say to them, how long do I have to be here before you start believing about yourselves what I believe about you and know to be true?
Wow.
So,
like, when are you going to get that? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious, because kind of like you've raised, I mean, I'm a Christian. I think we talk about identity. I think of the words, okay, I'm holy, I'm chosen, I'm righteous, I'm made new, I'm reconciled, I'm free, I'm a child of God. But you're saying that beyond that, there's an identity specific to us as individuals. Can you explain a little bit more about even what that 45-minute class was about, or how you find those, or how you hear from God what that specific thing is? Because I'm curious. I want to know more.
Yeah, so it's like, as you know, as people in the kingdom, we have a family identity. We all have it. We're children of God. We're that. That's so. I have three sons, and they're Winships. They are. They're sons of Jamie and Donna. They're part of the Winship family. They inherit all that we have. But I don't call them Winship 1, Winship 2, and Winship 3, right? They're very distinct, each one of them, even though they know they're in the family and all of that. And so, like, God went to great lengths to make us distinct. I mean, he went to great lengths to make me different from everybody else. So when he refers to me, how does he refer to me that's distinct from you're born again, or you're a Christian, or these big kind of team names? And so it's like when he goes to Gideon, he doesn't say, you're a Hebrew, get out of the cave, you're a Hebrew, or you're in the chosen people group. He says, you're a mighty man of valor. Why is my mighty man of valor hiding in a cave? Because Gideon believes something about himself that's not accurate and not true, based on his birth, his family, the situation in his country, but it's wrong. And so we can get into the scriptures of all that, but God is very big on naming. That's one of the first sort of powers he gave to Adam, is to name things. And Adam doesn't just go, well, that's nature. I mean, think how distinctly we identify leaves. So why, when you get to a human, are you just, a child of God?
Interesting.
It's like, yeah, but he only made one of you, and he's never going to make you again. Who did he make? Who did he make? And so the process, it wasn't a class. It's a very human transformational process that all humans long to know. Humans long for identity so much that they join gangs. We all join gangs, and we name the gangs every time we talk. And we're trying to get other people to join our gang or our club or our team. But Jesus wasn't recruiting a gang or a team. That's why he didn't have a collective name for the group. And so Samaritans could join, and Gentiles could join, and Romans could join, and Jews could join. And when you walked away from Jesus's interaction with them, if you asked them, what do you call yourself after Jesus met you and you now believe he's the Messiah? What do you call yourself? Like, what's the name of your gang or team? They wouldn't know what you're even talking about.
Yeah.
Right? If you ask, so when I was with the guy, here's the simple process. We've done a lot more work on it than these guys did. This was years ago. But the very first thing is confession. Confession, truth telling, right? Confession is not apologizing. Nowhere in the scriptures does God ask people to say they're sorry about stuff, or does Jesus ask the disciples to apologize to him.
Right.
But what he wants is them to tell the truth. He wants truth tellers, not apologizers. Apologizing doesn't do anything. When I was a police officer and you're interviewing a person, you're like, I need you to confess about what you did on Thursday, December 2nd. If they write down, I'm sorry, nothing changes. Nothing happens. It's like, we want you to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And the truth could be, I was innocent, or I'm an American. That's confession.
Yeah.
It's not apologizing. And so confession this is what we ask people. And the guy did it to me. Tell me the truth. Tell me the names you believe about yourself that hurt you. That's how he started.
Tell
what
me
are the names you believe about yourself that hurt you.
Wow. Yeah.
We do this with middle school kids, and they know those names. They know those identities deeply. And it doesn't matter if they're a Christian, a non-Christian. It doesn't matter. They know those names, and they live by those names. You're ugly. You're not smart. You're not good enough. You haven't prayed enough. You haven't led enough people to Jesus. Like, we know those names, and we live by them because being informs doing. Being informs doing. And so Jesus says, by their fruit, they know you. You can talk all day long. You can say whatever you want, but your being informs your doing. And so he just said, what are the names you believe about yourself? But you've got to tell the truth. You have to tell God the truth. So search me and know me and reveal to me any way in me that's offensive to you. We tend to talk about actions, but being informs doing. We never get to the false identity that the actions are just pointing back to. We just concentrate on the actions, which doesn't help, actually. And so I would say something like, Lord, what do I believe about myself that's offensive to you? What do I believe about myself that you never said about me? Why don't I believe what you do say about me?
Mm-hmm.
So what do I believe about myself that you never said? I think I'm a coward. I think I'm a disappointment. I believe that I'm not smart enough. I believe that I'm not as good as these guys that are out here. That's what I believe about myself at a very, very deep level.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started to say that, I started to cry.
Wow.
It was like, oh my gosh, I've never confessed at this level.
Wow.
I've apologized for sin my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never told the truth about, well, why am I doing these actions? As Jesus keeps telling us, out of the overflow of the heart it comes,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not at the heart. We're always at behavior modification. So we do behavior modification, which has a very limited impact. And when you're doing counterterrorism work, you can't do behavior modification with people that are raised in that level of fear and violence. Otherwise, we would just keep killing them and arresting them, and it would stop, but it never stops. It never changes. Right? And then we come home and kill ourselves because it infects us, because we're not at the right level of how we deal with it. So you say to the Lord, this is what I believe about myself. And then, okay, well, then what do you believe about God then? If you're not enough, what does that say about God? Then God didn't make you enough, or he's mad at you, or he's disappointed in you. Right? And so, I mean, I was at a big Christian school recently, and talking to 400 high school kids, and I said, before I say anything, I just want you to raise your hand if you think God's disappointed in you. Every kid raises their hand. Now, my next question is, how deeply are you going to confess to the God who's disappointed in you?
Yeah.
Now, you have to self-protect. You're going to learn to self-protect against God in prayer. That's what you're going to learn how to do. And try and manage God who's already disappointed in you. He's already, you're not going to make it, you know. So how are you going to ask? How are you going to open your heart to him? You're not. You're going to learn how to manage that relationship. And so, but when you just say, Lord, this is what I believe about myself, and you're coming unto him heavy burden, like weighed down, and like, I don't even know why I am trying to prove to everyone that I'm awesome. I don't even know why I've given up. I don't know why I'm doing stuff that I don't really want to do, but I got to show that I'm worthwhile to God or something. But none of it's from joy. None of it's from love. And so I was crying, and then he said, the guy prayed, and he said, Lord, where did Jamie learn that who told him he's a coward? Because all identity is received from outside yourself. All identity is received from outside.
That's good.
Right? So someone taught you that you're a disappointment. Somebody taught you that you're ugly. Someone said to you that you're a failure, or some grade, or somebody told you that, and you agreed. So like, I have these little granddaughters, and they're, now they're like 12, both are 12. But when they were younger, man, they would put on plays for us, and they thought they were so beautiful, and they thought they were great singers and performers. And they were, until one day, someone said to them, you're not a very good singer. And bam, it's gone.
Goodness.
Yep.
It's gone. Now, who's gonna restore that back to them? I can tell them all day, like, no, you're a good singer. No, you're a good singer. It's gone, because they don't believe it anymore. Now they believe what was said about them by someone that wanted to hurt them. Now think about, the enemy in Scripture is the liar, the deceiver, the accuser. All he does is accuse and deceive all day long to all of us. And we don't know how to recover from it. Our faith, our discipleship doesn't teach us how to deal with this stuff. It's like, memorize these verses. You have to go back to the day with that kid. I do it with 80-year-old people. Tell me the first time you learned that you're a disappointment in life. It didn't start yesterday. It started when you were 7. Who said it? Where did you learn it? And guess what? Jesus was with you that day.
That's good.
He was with you that day. Let's ask him what he said on that day to you that was true. And let him exchange the truth for the lie and believe about yourself what Jesus has always believed about you, and be born again.
Yeah.
Be reborn.
So
Right.
good.
And so that's what they did with me. They asked me, Lord, would you tell Jamie who the first person was that told him he was a disappointment? Because it wasn't you. You don't accuse. Jesus doesn't accuse people.
Mm-hmm.
God is not the accuser of men. We think he is. He's not. And so I said, I remembered it. I was in second grade, and that's why I was crying. How fast my amygdala went right back to where I learned it, because your brain records it all. It records it all and keeps it. And my mom wanted me to go to this little Bible study when I was in second grade and go knock on doors and invite kids, and I just didn't want to do it. I was embarrassed. I didn't understand it. And when I didn't want to do it, she told me that God was disappointed in me for not wanting to be in the Bible study, and that she was trying to help me, she was trying to, but man, did that cut me. It's like, oh, I'm a disappointment to God. But does God want every kid in this Bible study? Does God want every single kid in the exact same kind of Bible study? It doesn't seem like that's true. Doesn't he make some kids that want to go overseas and live with Muslims and not be in the Christian Bible study? Doesn't he make somebody like that? Nope. So there's something wrong with me. And you can't, how am I going to unlearn that? And so, when I'm 40, that comes up and I start crying. And then the guy praying with me so beautifully, he said, just ask the Lord what he wanted you to know about going to that Bible. Ask him. And I said, Lord, I feel so bad about not wanting to go to the Bible study. I'm 41 praying this prayer. I'm still guilty.
Yeah.
I'm still guilty. I've confessed my sins my whole life. But that doesn't get rid of the lies I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry I didn't want to go to the Bible study. I'm sorry I didn't want. I never asked, why didn't I want to go? And so Lord, what did you say about the Bible study? And he said, I made your brother to love those Bible studies. I made you to go to people that will never come to a Bible study.
Wow.
I don't want you in the Bible study. I don't want you to like the Bible study. I want you to only be content in the world that I made you to be contented, and it's the other side of the earth. So I don't want you to learn to be content in a place I didn't make you to be content. And I mean, I cried with freedom. I was like, oh my gosh, that's like Paul on the Damascus road going, in my mother's womb I was called to the Gentiles. I just didn't know it. Yeah. But who's, everyone's supposed to be in a Bible study. Isn't that just right? Isn't that just the right thing for everybody? No. No.
And so he's saying at 40, so you're 40 years old, looking back on when you were like 11 or something way earlier in life, and he's telling you at 40, hey, I didn't make you for that. This
right.
crossroad looking back on. That's unbelievable. That's right. And so that was a healing moment for you where your identity starts to come into full focus.
Yeah, what it did is, so then when a person has that experience, and of course the younger the better,
Sure.
We ought to be doing this with kids as young as they're able to pray well. I do it with my grandkids all the time. What does Jesus say about you?
Yeah.
What does the Lord say about you? Not what do people say about you? What does he say about you?
Yeah.
But what it does is that's like Paul on the Damascus road. In Galatians, he says, in my mother's womb, I was called to the Gentiles. At the right time, God made it known to me. Yeah. Right. And then all things work together. So once I prayed that prayer, it's not like God saying, okay, now all of a sudden it's like, then we look back at our lives and like all along he's been walking me that way.
Wow.
It's like an eclipsed sun. The identity was always there, but it's shadowed over by wrong belief, false belief. And it still shines, it still peaks, but it's dark. When I prayed that, it's just like the shadow moved off and the whole light could shine fully.
So good.
And so why God does it at certain times, I don't know. Why does the Lord reveal it to Paul on the Damascus road and not earlier in his life? I mean, certainly he was in the Word all the time and praying all the time. But it wasn't until the Damascus road that he has that transformational interaction with Christ. And Christ says, let me line up your eschatology for you because you're wrong.
Wow.
And let me line up your view of the Messiah because you're absolutely wrong. And you've been wrong as you study the word the whole time.
I'm the one you're persecuting.
Because only the incarnational experiential encounter with Jesus is what transforms, right? And so, but then I look back on my life and it's like, then I look back like Paul and I go, oh my gosh, all of this is going to work together for beauty on the day that you understand the truth of who you are and who Christ is, and almost as importantly, who your neighbor really is.
Wow.
And my neighbor my whole life has been the Muslim world.
Okay, I think we need to pause right there. This is destined to be a two-parter on becoming something. We don't do this often, but I think this needs to be one that you come back next week for. So hopefully you're blown away as I was when I heard some of those stories for the first time. And to finish this episode, join us next week.
Stay tuned. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Becoming Something, where we promise to keep the conversation honest and real for young adults in their 20s and 30s. Every moment we live is training for a future moment, and that's why we do this podcast, because we want you to be prepared for everything that life is going to throw at you. Our hope with this podcast is that it would help you become all that God desires you to be. To find out more, visit becomingsomething.com.